and then we'll be right back. I'm Jed in the region, hanging out for Kusiak. I'm back trying to get things in order here, and you and I are going to hit it because there's plenty to hit in this world. We'll be right back on the voice and face of the region. Are playing right now. Are they? I gotta make another cup of coffee. Joe, how are you? Go ahead and sit down. I'll be with you in about 20 minutes, okay? AM 1230 WJOB 104.7 FM. I'm Jed, sitting in for Kusiak today. And I appreciate everybody that's been doing the shows. Chuck Pullen, Verley Suggs, Michelle Quinn, Tom Damberton. Adriana did it yesterday, right? Is that right? Yes. And Adriana has Thursdays and then Kusiak's Fridays. Somewhat temporary, folks. As we build, our sports network has kind of gotten away from us, and I need to give a little bit of attention there. And then I also am in the process of rebuilding the cloud-based system for radio that will be kind of separate from the Jed TV app anymore. If you want to watch right now, we just went live on YouTube. Is that correct? All right, so we are live on YouTube. All you got to do is type in WJOB 1230 on YouTube, and you'll be able to find me sitting here at a desk with this beautiful logo behind here and these beautiful clocks that say WJOB, and there's a 1230 a.m. over there. And we want to thank a special friend for these. And if you are watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see the thing in the front of the desk. Once again, not a lot of traffic. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road, everything's quite a bit wide open. I went for the last 4 days to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina with three Hammond High dudes, actually. Pete Corellis and the two brothers of Tharp. Lee and Jeff Tharp. Lee Tharp was a center for Hammond High in the late 70s, and he's moved out to Fort Wayne pretty much right after he left high school at Hammond High. And Corellis, of course, Corellis Roofing, and Jeff Tharp, also Corellis Roofing all those years. And we drove to South Carolina, and then I flew back late last night so I could be here in the morning and basically screw everything up. But in terms of the weather, I'll just do it again right now. 45 is your right now. It goes up to 68 today. Kind of cloudy, maybe a little bit of sun here and there. And then tomorrow, high of 65 and sun peaking out. By Sunday, a high of 70. Even for the Bears game on Monday night, it'll be a high of 71 degrees. So what is going on in your world? I haven't talked to you guys in a while. There's plenty to cover and catch up on locally and around the state, but I know that you guys are already calling in, so let's just do that. If you want to call in and talk to me, 219-845-1100. Let's go to the phone lines. Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I heard you a couple of weeks ago talking about the possibility of moving away from news talk for WJOB, a new regime.
No, that's I think what I don't want to go too deep into it, but we started this JED TV Sports Network, and it was just kind of on a lark. Basically, we had to spend COVID money, and we didn't. We thought it would be a news talk TV station. That hasn't been nearly as popular as the sports has been. And the sports has taken off, and I think the state of Indiana is going to invest in us and a couple other people. And so it's grown pretty wildly. So what we decided to do was take our app and just make it a JED TV Sports Network app. And then Adriana and Joe Cimino and Matt Kaufman started up a YouTube channel. So our news and talk is on YouTube, and our sports is on the JED TV app. And I think that's a little bit confusing. Actually, Walt, I'm rededicating to news and talk, and you guys will notice that there will be some new shows and there will be some new formats, put it that way. So the exact opposite is true. I'm rededicating to that over the next 6 months.
Okay, so we'll be able to listen to you news talk over the WJOB AM 1230 radio, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Certainly AM 1230 is the dominant source that we do, but we're also on 104.7, and then we're also on the TuneIn app, and we're going to have another streaming option also. So the number of people that listen on the TuneIn app is actually grown a lot. And then a lot of people like to listen into the FM stereo. So AM 1230 is still the dominant one, but it's not the only one. We have FM and a bunch of online options, including a lot of people watch it on the YouTube channel where they can comment. And Joe, your job is to watch if anybody comments and tell me what they say. All right? So there it is. Well, I won't confuse you. I'm just telling you, you turn 1230 on, and we'll be here, okay?
Okay. This is out of yesterday's Times, the editorial page, a piece by Patricia Murphy from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, which is a very liberal newspaper down in Atlanta. And it's headlined, "The Biggest Losers of Government Shutdown for Now." And she lists three. And the first one are the Democrats. And here she says, the offer on the table in record days for Democrats is the same one they have asked for time and again in previous funding fights, a short-term extension of government funding at current levels while longer funding deal is negotiated. But unlike past years, Senate Democrats rejected a clean continuing resolution to force a broader conversation on affordable care subsidies, which are set to expire at the end of the year. The subsidies are important to working and middle-class families, but would not be affected by a temporary funding extension. That means that Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer insistence that Republicans want to raise health care rates for American families to obscene levels and that they are shutting the government down to do it is not accurate. How about that?
Well, I'm not going to be an expert on this at all. I just know that both of them have the same talking point, and Republicans are saying, hey, we just want to keep the government open, and you guys are holding it hostage for keeping the Affordable Care Act in place. And then Democrats are saying, of course we are, because if we don't, continue this, people are going to die. And there are answers there are arguments on both sides, but I've never heard that it wasn't true, because even I think President Trump has referenced it, says, you're not going to hold us hostage over health care. And so I don't have any comment on that, but let's just say that is the issue, that the Democrats won't sign because they don't want, the Obamacare message or methods to go away. I mean, how do you feel about that?
I think that the Democrats are playing the worst kind of politics involving personal interest. In this case, Chuck Schumer is scared to death of the rise of Ocasio-Cortez and the likelihood that she is going to eventually challenge old the Chuckster. And it explains why this seemed to me out of character for Schumer. And that is, he stood on the steps of the Supreme Court building and literally threatened the lives of a couple of the Supreme Court justices that didn't vote about abortion on demand the way he thought it should be done. I was shocked. It seemed out of character for old Chuckster, and I think it's all politics. Fear of Chuck Schumer to losing his job to Ocasio-Cortez, and I'm sure he's even more crazy fear because of the rise of this Amania, the commie, as the Democrat candidate for mayor of New York City. I think it just shocks Schumer to his bones to see a man as so far to the left as this Democrat candidate is. Here's a guy who, when asked, how are you going to pay for all the free stuff you're talking about, free public transportation, free this, free that, and his response was, well, I'll pay for it by taxing rich people and the white areas. Whoa. A blatant racist remark. He's got away with it.
What you're doing is common on both sides right now, in my mind, in that there is a major issue. I mean, if you kind of boil it down to the government is shut down. And by the way, I got a flying story to tell you about coming back from South Carolina, but I'll get to it later. Just a delay after delay because of, not enough people there. But there is a major issue. Is like, one, should the Democrats be holding the government hostage over health care, Obamacare? And then the second part is, should the Republicans, pretty much got a lot of what they've already wanted, should they relent on that? And the biggest talk that I've been reading is that both parties are looking for an off-ramp. Like, how could we get off of this without, looking that bad? Because we're in the 10th day right now. I flew back from South Carolina yesterday. From what I understand, Walt, it's not so much that they can't get the planes to take off and land with all the air traffic controllers who aren't getting paid and are working for nothing, so they're taking sick days, a lot of them. It's the ground problems. In other words, how do you route them across all of the, especially at big places like O'Hare, and how do you get them in and out of the gates, and how do you get them in line? I mean, that takes a lot of people, a landing and taking off, once they're in position, they can get that done. So your delays are pretty bad. I flew back from Myrtle Beach last night in record time of 1 hour and 30 minutes. And then how long did we sit on the tarmac waiting for a gate? 1 hour and 30 minutes. And I talked to the flight attendant, and she's just like, this is how it is now. There aren't any air traffic controllers. There's not enough, and they can get the air traffic okay, but it's the ground traffic that's a problem. So there's a lot of people looking for off-ramps. But to me, you concentrate on the issue. Is like, should the Democrats be holding the government hostage? They have no power. This is the only power they have. And then the Republicans on the other side is like, dude, you got pretty much everything you want. All you got, they're looking for a little bit of an off-ramp to give the Obamacare subsidies and not look like they lost. Does that make sense?
Sort of.
Yeah, I mean, there are real issues here of people's health care. And there are real issues of people that work for the government, and these are real issues. Some of the other stuff, I find that people just try to get sidetracked, and I think that's what you're bringing up right now.
Well, to me, it's pretty clear that the Democrats are rejecting, and Schumer's rejecting a program that he has advocated himself many times before, and that's the core of it. I mean, the Republicans keep saying there's nothing negotiated. It's a continuation of what the Biden administration did, and it's just to give us a couple of weeks to get us to the point that we can sit down and talk about these other issues.
Well,
to me,
I mean,
believe
me, I saw it firsthand. And anyways, I think that we're all frustrated. I could hear it in your voice. I was certainly frustrated sitting on a tarmac with my wife waiting for me. It's tough. And I was reading yesterday in, I don't know, I think Yahoo News, that if anything was going to bring us to our knees and end the government shutdown, that the air traffic controllers could be the biggest impetus of that. All right, man. Thanks a lot, Walt. 219-845-1100. I don't have your mic's not on. You gotta turn that on.
The thing is just the buttons, man. Okay, so I've been flying a lot back and forth from Connecticut recently, so I kind of get what you're experiencing. But I flew out of a Velo is the name of the air flight, and they fly through like the international area, and I go on there. We fly to Connecticut. I fly into New Haven, I think, and it's pretty seamless both ways. I never get stuck on the tarmac in O'Hare, and I've gone probably like 3 or 4 times since this.
Have you gone in the last 9 days?
Huh?
Have you gone in the last 9 days?
Not 9 days, but
yeah.
The week before.
Evidently, in the last 2 to 3 days, all these air traffic controllers are like, dude, I'm working my ass off. I'm not getting paid. And they're like, well, I might as well take some sick days. They all probably bank them. And I don't hold anything against them. There's a lot of people like, oh, you need to be on the job. So if they have the less air traffic controllers, I saw it firsthand. They can get them up in the air and they can bring them down. It's just they can't route them. And this is, people aren't going to stand for that, especially if they got to fly places. All right, man. Did you see this? All right, I want to just remind people that there are new videos. Are we able to get any of those up?
Yeah, I have.
We got a nice relationship with the Times. As a matter of fact, Joseph Pete is on next. We're going to talk about his book in a minute. The new videos appear to show ICE arrests in East Chicago. Multiple videos. East Chicago leaders say city had no role in the ICE operation. 2 men wearing police vests and black face masks took a man in handcuffs from the foyer of an East Chicago bakery Thursday and placed him in an unmarked silver car. Video taken by the bakery's owner and verified by the Times shows. I don't know if Joe wrote this article. Michael Howie wrote it in the Times. The Chicago Police Department officials said to the Times they believe the operation was conducted by federal immigration authorities. The Chicago Police Department was not involved in the incident that occurred this morning at La Rancherita Bakery, said Jose Rivera. Rivera said his department was aware of the video, which has already circulated around social media. Chicago police have no authority over federal agents. We don't know anything about this video, but we are going to show it right now. If I think you'll probably have to play an ad there, Joe, and then we'll play that. In the meantime, there it is. Okay, it looks, all right, I'm going to come over and look at it. Looks like some guys in vests that say police on the back. They are wearing masks or no? Go back, will you? Go back to the beginning of it. Are they wearing, yeah, they're wearing masks, and they're taking him from the foyer of La Rancherita. And it's a pretty clear, and they're taking him out. All right, let's watch the bakery owner follow him out to the car. Now they're getting in just a regular car. It's not even black. It's a silver SUV that looks like that's not even that new, or there's no markings of police. Go back to the beginning of that, will you? From the foyer of La Rancherita. Now, my first question would be, is there some sort of a warrant for this guy that has nothing to do with an ICE raid? And if that is not the case, and he is just being picked up from ICE, what does that mean for Northwest Indiana? The game has changed. The ICE raids have come here. Is that possible? Or is that an isolated incident? All right, let me see what else the Times has to say. I've been away for 4 days, so all right. Our department is here to serve and support our community. Suzanne Sens, owner of La Rancherita on Main Street, said she heard commotion in the entryway. She went over from the counter to investigate and saw a man up. What do you got, another one? All right, let's do it. Here we go. Keep going. All right, go back to the beginning of that, will you? All right. All right, this one's a little clearer. Yeah, that's definitely federal agents with masks on, and that is East Chicago. Yep. And that's all we got, huh? Wow. Let's see another one. All right, here we go. There's the ICE agents, and there's the guy they have in handcuffs, and they're searching him and going through his back pockets and stuff, and he's handcuffed, and that's all we got. Wow. 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 Two things got real, and one is that I sat on a tarmac for an hour and a half because they didn't hear it. Ostensibly, from what the flight attendants were saying, is that there aren't enough air traffic controllers. And there it is, ICE agents in East Chicago, if indeed that is what it is. We are in a new era. Paul Goddard's sending me something here. Hold on. Let me go here. I'll get to it. Statement from Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott. This armed federal ICE agents were observed staging an operation in the parking lot of the Hammond Police Department. Let me be clear, Hammond does not have any agreements or partnerships with ICE that authorize them to use our city's facilities or property for their operations. It is deeply concerning that federal agents would enter and use Hammond's property without permission, especially when the federal courthouse is located just 1 block west of our police headquarters. Upon being notified, city officials immediately informed the ICE agents that they were not authorized to stage operations on Hammond property. To their credit, the agents complied and relocated their operation elsewhere within the city. ICE has come to Northwest Indiana, and you already had a standoff here with Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott. And East Chicago comes out with a statement too. Let me look at that statement again. and they are saying the Chicago police, two men wearing police, blah, 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 blah. The Chicago Police Department said they believe the operation was conducted by federal immigration authorities. And here it is from Chief Jose Rivera. The East Chicago Police Department was not involved in the incident. Said they're aware of it, but Mayor Anthony Copeland, Rivera said that the department remains committed to protecting the rights and safety of residents. Here's Rivera. This is pretty pointed. Our department is here to serve and support the community, not to participate in immigration enforcement. Well, when you're listening to this 3 or 4 years down the line, which you probably will, this is a moment in history, my friends. ICE has come in a big way has come into Northwest Indiana. And you have two administrations saying, putting up, they're pushing back. So what if ICE doesn't listen? Really, what happens? You have Hammond cops listening to Hammond Mayor, and you have ICE agents listening to Donald Trump. Does anybody even remotely think about how deeply dangerous that is? I was hoping it wouldn't come to this. Hey, I'll take a short break. I'll be right back. On the Voice and Face of the Region. Hey, everybody. AM 1230, WJOB. I'm Jim Delo, in for Dave Kusiak. Thanks a lot to Verley, Davidson, Pullen, Adriana, and Kusiak, allowing me to work on a little, trying to set something up for the next generation of sports fans in this region. With part of the changes, you got to watch me on YouTube now. And if you have some sort of flag on you on YouTube, then you can't leave a comment. And a couple of people are like, I can't leave a comment. It's like, well, are you allowed to post? Have you ever, oh, yeah, I'm in like YouTube jail right now. Okay, well, then you can't post. But if there's something you want to say, you just put it in the chats, and Joe Cimino will monitor that. And you're able to watch me on YouTube. Also, we're on AM 1230, 1047. We're on the TuneIn app. And I will have shortly, Joseph Pete is here, and I have to apologize to him. I made the appointment in my calendar book from South Carolina when I went out there for 4 days and played some golf. And it translated it to 6:15, so he's waiting there, and we'll get to him at 7 o'clock. Let's take a look at traffic. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road, Borman, I-65. Joe Cimino, two things. You probably don't have the weather. I could do it.
I have the weather.
Okay. And then, do you know what games we're doing tonight? Will you be able
I can check it after, or you want to do the weather and I can check it?
Yeah, why don't we do that? Okay, hey guys, right now it's 45 degrees. It'll go up to about 68 in the middle of the afternoon. Kind of cloudy day, maybe a little bit of sun here and there. Tomorrow, more sun and a high of only 65. And then Sunday, a high of 70. Such a beautiful weekend. Also, you'll need to bring up 219 News Now over there at some point too. But do you have who the games are tonight?
I am.
Okay, we will look for that. Let's take some phone calls right now. ICE is in the region, okay? Confirmed here by Paul Goddard. Thank you to Goddard. I know Goddard and I got to sit down and talk about some things, but statement from Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott. Armed federal ICE agents were observed staging an operation in the parking lot of the Hammond Police Department. Let me be clear. Hammond does not have any agreements or partnerships with ICE that authorize them to use our city's facilities or property for their operation. It is deeply concerning that federal agents would enter and use Hammond's property without permission, especially when the federal courthouse is located just one block west of our police headquarters. Upon being notified, city officials immediately informed the ICE agents they were not authorized to stage operations on Hammond property. To their credit, the agents complied and relocated their operation elsewhere within the city. How do you guys read that? Is that a test? Is that a test to see like who's working with us and who's not? Wouldn't you do that? Like, let's just go into the parking lot. If they kick us off, then we'll know, right?
Okay. I got the games for you if you want to hear them still.
All right, what do you got?
All right, so today we got South Central football against Winnemac, Calumet versus Griffith, Highland versus KV, Boone Grove versus Lake Station, Andrean versus Hanover, and Hobart versus Morton. Those are all the games that we are covering today.
You guys understand what that takes to get on TV? And I want to say thank you to each and every sponsor who believes in the mission. If you have a business and you are not on the mission of putting local high school athletes on streaming video, helps them recruit, helps bring the communities together. It's basically a running advertisement for high school athletics. If you're not, then change your ways and give us a call or just email me at jed@jedtv.com. I've gotten involved in some of the sales, and it's been a lot of fun because some big people have signed up and said they're in, and you should be too. All right, let's take some phone calls. 219-845-1100. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Hey, Jimmy.
Hey, Dave. How are you?
Oh, sounds like those ICE agents are kind of creeping around your neighborhood now.
Yes, I know that Dave calls in from, I believe, Evanston. Is that correct, Dave?
Yep, that's where I'm living at these days.
And there
Formerly
have
of
been
Griffith.
significant activity, especially on the north side in Chicago, but we haven't had it here, or at least I was not aware of it.
Until now, it sounds like.
What do you think's going to happen?
Oh, let me say this much. The more Trump pushes buttons, it seems like the more people are going to try to push back, it sounded like.
You know, this is the standoff I was hoping would not happen. Because, of course, ICE and the entire federal government and all of the power and the military that's behind it. And then you have a mayor here in Hammond that, I mean, he was Trump before Trump. And he's very stubborn and can do wild things at times. And he and I think it's pretty well known that we've had our disagreements over the years. I'm just so tired that I try to avoid it. But if it comes up, sometimes it's a little bit fun, I guess. But for the most part, I can tell you this, that as all of the disagreements that I've had with Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott, and some of them have been very public, and disagreements with his dad that have also been very public, I never doubted McDermott's commitment to looking out for the people of Hammond. Now, you might not always agree on how he's doing it, but if he is that committed to the people of Hammond, and at times it feels like only the people of Hammond, what will happen if this escalates?
Yeah, that seems to be like the $10 million question, it seems like.
Man. All right. Hey, Dave, I'm going to move it today. I'll talk to you soon. It's good to hear you, buddy. I love hearing about
How
your
was
life.
your trip?
And you saw that Scott Lindsay, we'll find it on Facebook, but a local dentist is fixing all his teeth for free. And if you guys don't know who Scott Lindsay is, Scott Lindsay was the autistic guy that he's been kind of denoted as that, who was in Hessville Park and got jumped and beaten really bad, and they knocked out 6 of his teeth across the top. And it's kind of hard for him to talk. And the dentist, which Joe Cimino's going to get the name, and let's give the guy kudos, is putting his teeth back together. That's no great shakes when you lose 6 teeth, David.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
Yeah, I mean, I know that hit you hard, right?
Being one on the autism spectrum myself, yeah, it did. Admittedly.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring it up to you, but I think we talked about it. So, all right. Hey, David, thanks a lot for the phone call. 219-845-1100. Hey, Joe,
right.
Let's go. Let's move along here. We got Joe P. waiting. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Good morning. It's good to be back in America. Very good to be back in America. I guess I must have run across you at the airport last night.
Did you sit on the tarmac for an hour and a half?
And thank God for being back in America, because this is the greatest country. We got some terrible leaders, but so-called leaders, I should say. But I got back from Jamaica, had 4 or 5 days there, and wasn't sure I was going to get back in America because of the air traffic controllers, and I texted a couple of people who kind of know what's going on. I said, well, you know what Reagan did? Reagan fired those air traffic controllers and pilots and stuff because it's something that the president could do. So maybe Trump might say, well, hey, we're going to fire these people. And I said, oh my God. I don't know if you remember that. You're a little younger than I am, Jed, when Ronald Reagan fired those air traffic controllers. You remember? And pilots. You remember that?
I do remember that. And I think the game's a little different now. They were able to ramp up with just a few thousand, and was mostly manual sight, and there were some instruments. Now from what I read, is someone was speculating, could he do it again? You'd almost have to shut down, air traffic, because the amount of technology that you need to learn to be able to direct the planes is quite a bit more now. And it would take longer to do it now than it did then.
Yeah, but anyway, let me just say that as I was in Kingston, Jamaica, one of the most beautiful resorts I think throughout the world. I mean, it was just lovely. But I got an opportunity to talk with people clean across the United States who were there from the United States and around the world, and just and their thinking is with the government being shut down. Well, none of those people were blaming Schumer for that. Basically, what they were saying that the Democrats, you talk about Medicare and Medicaid, and we've been talking about that a while. That it affects a lot of people, and I'm just telling you right now, as you say, the people left and the right. The way I look at it is as a person and have people who are in nursing home and stuff like that. This thing trying to make sure that, I mean, the way they got it, that it's all about the rich. The affordable health care, which they renamed that Obamacare. And people say, "Oh, I don't want no about." Well, do you care for affordable health care? Oh, yeah. Well, it's the same thing. Yeah. So it's just terrible how, and I just want my government right now. But when you have a comedian who happens to be commander in chief of the United States coming on with all this kind of crazy talk, I want him to be president. I don't want him. I think it's more to it in America than going at Cuomo because he didn't do what I told him to do. Letitia James, and he said many others. What is that? Is that why we have him as the president of the United States? And I have not come on this air lately, Jed, as you very well know, because I was just so much hate and stuff, and I just hate it. And when I went out of the country and I came back and I say America is a great country, but you got some terrible leaders, and it's the right and the left, right and left. Well, let's say what is right for the people who need health care, who can't afford to have their health care paying more, in terms of it. They just can't. It's about, to me, Jed, is the rich and the powerful, the billionaires who are going to benefit it. And he knows how to craft this, I call it a triple B, big beautiful bill, What is so beautiful about this bill? And I was just like, maybe you could have our congressman, who I think was doing a fine job, and he's concerned about this stuff. I just heard you talk about the mayor of Ishika, Hammond. I agree with Tom McDermott 1,000%. He and I have had some disagreements in the past, but I like the fact is that they don't need ICE coming into there. What is this about?
Well, here you get to the topic du jour there, Ron, in that in the last yesterday, ICE was reportedly filmed pulling a guy out of La Rancherita, just walking in to get some donuts or something, and they grabbed him and took him with masks on, and it was not East Chicago police, but it did say police on the back of their shirts, and you could go to the Times website, or you could go to Paul Goddard's website at Region News Source. Either one of those has some pretty good video, and we already showed it. Now, what is kind of the biggest part there, Ron, is both what Copeland and Rivera out of EC and McDermott saying here out of Hammond. They're saying, Rivera says this. He's the chief of police in East Chicago. He says, our department is here to serve and support the community, not to participate in immigration enforcement. And McDermott came out with a statement that, and let me get it up. Thanks to Goddard for sending me the statement. Let me be clear, Hammond does not have any agreements or partnerships with ICE that also authorize them to use our city's facilities or property for their operations, which evidently they were doing yesterday in using the Hammond Police Department. Ron, this is a moment in region history because you have the federal government trying to enact activities, law enforcement activities,
that local people could deal with. Local
and a mayor, a very opinionated and kind of loud mayor, opposing it. And this is dangerous. I want people to understand that we're not a country where the federal agents are against the local law enforcement in any way. And local law enforcement doesn't normally oppose federal agents.
First of all, when you have ICE come in and just yank somebody out of a place, not knowing if they were just other than the fact that photo ops, I think it's terrible. Probably that person that they yanked out shouldn't have been yanked out. They may have been born in this country. They may have been contributing a lot of good things. But again, it seems to me like we have one person, and actually when you have different people, but when you got a president of the United States, he wants to take care of, he wants to be the FBI, he wants to be everybody. Why do we have to pay all these other people if he wants to be everything called? Because I got it done. I'm just sick of it, man. I'm sick of it, and you can hear it in my voice. I know. I'm sick of it. I just think right now, like I say, I applaud McDermott and all the other mayors and stuff like that. If they, I don't see the reason why they're coming into East Chicago doing that. Do you?
Oh, Ron. All right. Hey, Ron, thank you for the phone call. Thank you. Ron, what do you mean you don't see the reason to come into East Chicago or Hammond? First of all, there's a lot of there's a huge Hispanic population in both cities. They're both Democratic cities, and there is a standoff coming, or it's already here. You've got Chief Rivera saying this isn't what we do. You got McDermott basically asking ICE agents to get off their property. What is going on? And let's see if maybe I'll drop by Monday with Chuck Pullen, and let's see if the businesses, what's the Hispanic percentage at many of the businesses? Will there be less traffic at some local businesses over the weekend as word gets out that ICE is in? All right, let's go. Let's do it. I got to go quicker now. Sorry, I'm my normal slow self. Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Jed. I'll make it real quick. I'm going to go to the air traffic in a second, but can I just make this one remark about him and Mayor Tom McDermott? So under his post, somebody commented, are many of them Proud Boys or J6ers? Asking for a friend. He wrote back, most of the ICE agents failed out of police academy. That's for sure, JC. That's pretty sick that he's trying to whip people up and be part of that insurrection of making this internal fight. Like, you should be trying to calm people down, not try to whip them up. But just because you probably made a ton of people anxious about the air traffic controllers, just for people that are getting ready to fly out this weekend so you can relax a little bit. Yeah, you should probably leave a little bit earlier. But my son flew out of Charleston Thursday morning in a Midway. He had no issues at all. Landed in the Midway. 5 minutes later, was at the gate. 5 minutes later, off the plane. And then he called us another 5 minutes after that. And he was outside ready to get picked up. So he had no issues at all.
Was it a morning flight?
Oh, come on, Jed. Why do you're trying to whip people up? Not every flight is held up. You just said first your excuse for somebody else that flew out was, oh, that was more than 3 days ago. And now you're saying that somebody that flew out 3 days ago that had no issues at all, now it's because it was a morning flight?
That was brought to me, like having a conversation with the flight attendant, and she suggested, she said, hey, when it starts to back up like this, it starts to back up later in the day. So right now, if you're flying, people aren't going to say this, but get out early. Even Verley says that on normal days. But I'm just giving
Right.
practical tips. That's not a political statement. It's like it's
right,
backing
but
up
that's
across America. I mean, you
fine.
can go on the FAA site, and in the morning they have just a few, and then in the afternoon it's like almost every airport now is reporting, backups and so forth. So it kind of backs up throughout the day, and then all right, in the morning it's good. Then it just that's what we get, and if that. I don't know what it was like when they fired all the air traffic controllers when Reagan did it, but it makes sense that if I had to do this again, I would have waited and flown this morning rather than last night if I had known this.
I think we just need to be careful about whipping people up, especially if it comes about that, or even with these ICE and all that. Whipping everybody up.
What is whipping people up?
Cause a lot of, I don't know. It seems like you guys kind of are a little bit.
What do you mean? Listen, this is what is happening right now in your city. In your city, Mayor McDermott and the Hammond Police Department asked ICE to get off their property.
And isn't that public property? I don't get that, but
I don't get it. I mean, I don't get it.
Right, most of the ICE agents failed out of the police academy. Like, A has no proof of that, and B, what's the point of that?
I don't know, and to me, that's I don't know what the issue there. But when Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott, this was given to me by Goddard, so I'm going to say that there's a picture of all sorts of guys getting led across the Hammond parking lot, and McDermott says, "Let me be clear. Hammond does not have any agreements or partnerships with ICE that authorize them to use our city's facilities. City officials."
He's no publicity because he's trying to run for another office again that he failed at.
Well, I mean, there you go, whipping up side. You see, here's the issue. That is what makes it so difficult anymore. It's difficult to have a conversation anymore because there is the issue right now that ICE is here, and you have two Democratic cities that are pushing back. That's dangerous, man. That's dangerous.
You know what? So what's interesting? What's interesting is that what did you say? It was the chief of police in Chicago that said we're here to support the community. Is it the community of the law, the legal citizens, or those that came here through different ends? Like, what does he mean, the community? The people that are paying their salary, or?
So, I mean, is your point is that he's protecting undocumented workers?
I don't know what his point was when he made that out, when he said that. Like, what is ICE doing? ICE is trying to arrest those cartel members and these gang members that are trafficking drugs and sex trafficking and all that. And then these guys are like, wow, we're here to support the community. What community are you supporting?
Okay, so let me ask you direct. Do you think Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott should allow ICE to use city facilities and even assist them in gathering up Hammond citizens?
If they are arresting people with warrants or known cartel members, absolutely. Let's get these people off the street.
Where are you getting that information? I mean, it's
watch.
It's a
of the stuff.
They've already there's not that much low-hanging fruit of drug cartel members. Okay, there's just not. I mean,
I don't know, dude. The videos I've seen, they're walking out with the tattoos on them. MS-13 and all these guys?
You see, the difficulty of extracting some reality from what is really going on, I can see already in doing this first hour of this show on both sides, is just amazingly clouded. Because, yes, there are certainly cartel members that they have picked up, but do you really think that's all that's getting picked up?
So all we see now are billboards about fentanyl deaths. Where do you think all that's coming from?
Okay. All right.
Okay,
this is once again.
That just did a video with the reporter in a ride-along talking about the cartel routes and the drug routes for us in Chicago and the rest of the country.
All right, so let's say you didn't answer my question.
seen
Should
that?
Hammond be assisting ICE?
If they are going to arrest, yes, people with warrants and known drug and cartel.
Oh, wait a second, but that's
Absolutely.
That is
That's what we're
not.
paying you for.
That's a talking point. That's not reality.
Not a fucking-
Because when you go in and you pick somebody
legal
up,
people.
no, listen. How many drug cartel members are there in Hammond from Mexico?
Oh, come on, Jed.
How many?
Come on.
100?
I have no idea. I have no
Okay,
number.
but you see-
you're telling me you don't think there's cartels and gangbangers and cartel gangs?
My guess is that there are good
Not arresting
workers
everybody.
that are being picked up indiscriminately and taken away from their families that have nothing to do with drug cartels. Is that okay
I've
with
seen
you?
very few of that.
Is that okay with you?
I don't know. Where are these people you're talking about that have been picked up illegally?
Okay,
I'm
let's
illegal.
just say, and there are plenty of options. I mean, there's plenty of things to look at across America of people that are working and then they've got 3 kids and they just get picked up and sent away. And now the wife's there with the 3 kids and they haven't done any crimes. But let's just say that someone has not committed any crimes and they're working, landscaping, or they're working in a restaurant, or they might even be working in one of the manufacturing places around here. They have a family and they're undocumented. The kids were probably born here, right? But dad wasn't. Dad gets scooped up, hasn't committed any crimes. Should he be deported?
No, I should say that. If they didn't go through the process of coming here legally, then that's the risk they took, and they knew that. They knew that. 100%
No,
they knew that.
I understand that argument, and I understand that we have to address this, but each and every one of us has to make that decision and understand that's the decision we're making.
But that's not the people that they're going after, and that's where you're going after, twisting the narrative again. Because I'll send you the videos. I forget what the YouTube channel is, but they're reporting.
All right. Hey, thank you for your phone call. One of the things of being away for a little while is that you remember what was quite, what was starting to develop. And I don't know how it's gotten this way, but it comes out on the air that there are so many like ingrained talking points in like Ron Matlock or this guy, and I feel like where did our discussion on WJOB for 102 years go, where we can evaluate, try to get to the reality of the situation and then get down to a couple main decisions that each of us has to make. And for some reason, I don't know what has happened to that. I just don't. I shake my head because I think that 5 years ago we were a different people, and here we are, and there are a lot of reasons for how we got here, but I think that this is a moment in history when you have the Hammond mayor telling federal agents that that's Hammond property and they're not to conduct their activities there. What is that the beginning of? Or is it just a moment that flips by in history? I don't know. We're going to talk something different. We'll be right back on the Voice and Face of the Region. count to 10.
1, 2, 3.
All right, you're good.
4.
Thank you.
Okay.
AM 1230, WJOB 104.7 FM. Also live on a TuneIn app and live on YouTube. That's why we have to play a non-copyrighted music. I want you guys to understand what I'm doing here. Slowly coming back to radio and audio and podcasting.
That's actually a good point. Can I make a point real quick? So people keep asking about the copyrighted music and if we can do it, if it's public domain or not. It doesn't matter if the song is public domain. It can still be copyrighted. So we are sticking to the elevator music for now until we figure something else out.
Honestly, I'll stay on it. I'll even tell you what's happening here is that the Sports Network, Sam Michael, Peter Krakowski, Ben Cohort, and then I think we just added a major name to the lineup, which I'll make an announcement soon. They're doing their thing. Joe Cimino is a host of the Friday Night Kickoff, which we're not doing tonight because they're gearing up for a big one. That takes a lot of work to do basically a game day before a game, but it'll be the Lowell Andrean Conference Championship next week, and we'll have a game day before it. So just so understand that, you know, that's kind of on its own now, the Jed TV Sports Network, and that I'm coming back and I will be working mostly with Adriana and Lynette to refortify WJOB and get some more news and all that kind of stuff. So just have some patience, but they're separate. I don't care if it's on YouTube channel or not. I told them I don't even care, but Adriana and Cimino want it, so you can do what you want with that. I'm here to set up an audio radio station with podcasts on it. And that's my job. You guys do whatever the hell you want with that YouTube channel, okay? I want you guys to understand that I don't want to touch it. Make sure it works. It's all on you. You and Adriana and Matt, okay? Now go to the bathroom, all right? Cool. AM 1230, WJOB. Let's take a look at traffic 294 around the city. Let me see. McDermott is texting me. Let me see if he's going to, what we're going to do here. All right, yeah, so he's on let's see if we can do McDermott on Monday or Tuesday. Well, not Monday because Chuck Pullen's here. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh out loud, but we'll do it another day. No, not Tuesday because Verley's here. Maybe I'll do a special segment. Tom, later in the day, I'm here all day. I could record it and put it out on social media and stuff. But anyways, the big news of the day is that ICE was in Hammond yesterday and East Chicago, and both the East Chicago Police Department and Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott, kind of putting up a little bit of a pushing back. McDermott asking ICE to get off of their property. This is a moment in history, and we're going to talk about history in just a second. Good history. But 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway Toll Road, Borman, I-65. No major delays right now at O'Hare and Midway. Not massive delays. But I came in last night, and there was a lot of delays late at O'Hare, people missing connecting flights, that kind of thing. And let's see how many air traffic controllers call off today. And if it becomes a problem, I read an article on Yahoo News last night that said if any one group had leverage to bring the government shutdown to an end, it is air traffic controllers. And I'll tell you what, as pissed off as I was last night, sitting on that tarmac, and so was everybody else, I could see the level just rising where people are like, let's get this done. Let's take a look at what the weather is. Nice weekend weather. Ohio, it's 46 right now. Goes up to 68 at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. A little bit of sun and then a little bit of clouds, that kind of thing. Tomorrow, though, all sun, high of 66. And Sunday, all sun and a high of 70. Hey, everybody. This segment is being recorded in 2025. It involves one of our own journalists here in the region, quite quickly becoming one of the veteran journalists of this area, and that is Joseph Pete. I will read the dedication to his new book. This book is dedicated to my late brother Tom, who was a true cinephile, a brilliant comedian who cracked everyone up, and a bright light that shall never burn out. The title of the book is Lost Treasures of Indiana, and I have all of Joe Pete's other books, and this may be the biggest, the most colorful book of all of his books, and we're going to help him sell some books going into Christmas. Anybody that has a region person or an Indiana person, you need this on your coffee table. Joe, thanks for coming in.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
It's good to see you, man.
Oh, pretty good to see you.
I know
Congratulations
you're busy
on the Society of Innovators Award.
Thank you. Yes, I was wondering if that was announced, but it was. So I mentioned it today, and we'll be out there. They came in and did a huge spread and interviewed us and took pictures, and there's going to be a couple of big articles coming out. But thank you, man. You know, it's kind of like with your journalism. A lot of times you're just working and you don't even know. I mean, there are people appreciating this, but that's kind of how I feel about like doing all the, the tech stuff that we've done. And then all of a sudden we just got recognized by downstate. Now we're getting recognized here. It's a good feeling. You ever feel like you're working and you're not really sure if anybody's paying attention?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. No, it's definitely grinding away every day. And sometimes it's, you wonder what impact you're having or if you're keeping people informed. And
Yeah. Well, Joseph Pete has been with the Times now how long?
Since 2013.
Okay, can I call you Joe? I mean,
Joe's fine by me.
All
Yeah.
right, good. I mean, I see you putting in your bylines, Joseph P.
Yeah, just sound professional or whatever. But it's I'm whatever you want to call me is fine.
How many books have you written?
Oh, this is my fifth now. This is the first one that's all my other books have kind of focused on the region. This is the first one that's statewide. One of my publishers, Reedy Press from St. Louis, which put out the Secret Northwest Indiana and 100 Things to Do in Northwest Indiana Before You Die. They had this series of lost treasures of like St. Louis, Omaha, Baltimore, etc., places around the country. And they had asked me to do one in the series, and they asked it to be statewide. So there's a ton of region stuff in this one. Of course, I'm from the region. I grew up in Hammond and Highland. It's completely populated with like region stuff like Peerless Potato Chips, Star Plaza Theater, Country Lounge, Old
Cedar
Style
Lake,
Inn.
the Cedar Lake dance halls.
Oh yeah, the floating dance halls and all the pool,
Yeah.
the water slides, and the Al Capone hanging out there after they got to stop on the Monon Trail, and you can see all that wonderful. Learn more about the history there of ice harvesting and everything in the Museum of Last Resorts right there on the lake. But the this one is the one that has stuff statewide though. It's Market Square Arena, the Hoosier Dome, all kinds of historic points of interest from all across Indiana, from the Lake Michigan to the Ohio River. A lot of places, people will fondly remember from, especially from, Indianapolis, like Marsh supermarkets, Hook drugstores, Hog Drugs, the Ellis Harris Tea Room, places like that are kind of live on in the state's like collective memory.
So Joe Cimino is taking a little break, and we'll have him zoom in on this. But the other ones were smaller books, and they were not picture-based as much. This is a true part of a series. I mean, this is it's a beautiful book. Now, is this made to sit on, kind of a coffee table book?
Oh, yeah, they definitely intended as a coffee table book. I started out thinking it was going to be another paperback like the others in the series, but I managed to collect like 450 photos or so from different historical societies around the state, and then they wanted to do it as a coffee table book. They like the images. There's a lot of historic images from, from department stores to restaurants to drive-ins to, the Pembroke Arcade in Indianapolis was like one of the first enclosed shopping malls in the country. It's similar to the old style 19th century arcade. Like they have a great one that's preserved well in Cleveland that was just featured in the Superman movie, where it's got the high arches and it's very distinctive looking. But it's got a lot of just photos of Tomlinson Hall, just a lot of the old Marion County Courthouse, historic places from all across the state. The lasers on the dunes in Michigan City, where they took that hyperbolic cooling tower that everybody thinks is a nuclear power plant because it looks like the one in The Simpsons, but it's actually a NIPSCO coal-fired plant. But for several years, they used to do a laser light show on it where they'd set it to like Pink Floyd or the Beatles or whatever, and hundreds of people would turn out and come watch the light shows they put on. There was a company in Stone Mountain in Atlanta, Georgia that did a similar thing, and they expanded it here, and it was a big attraction for a while and it just kind of faded. And this book is really trying to capture things like that either made an impression or were just notable, just different aspects of our state's history.
Let me just pull out a couple here. You have a little section on the Gary American.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Now, it's been a long time since I've seen a Gary American, but it used to be a big deal in the 70s when I worked in Miller, and the Gary American would come out, and it was some family published it in Gary, and it was a big deal, and I think it faded out around, I don't know, the 90s or whatever. But you have a beautiful picture of a historic headline. Hatcher demands elimination of discrimination as K's equal Negro 68 seating. I mean, anything with Hatcher is major, it's major history, but you actually had the paper. How'd you get that picture?
Oh, yeah, research-wise on the book, I had to do, I reached out to libraries and historical societies and museums across the state, and part of it was gathering photos. I got the photos from tons of different sources. A lot of them were like the Indiana Room in the Gary Public Library, the Lake County Historical Society. I would just like hit up I had an idea for what I wanted to include in the book, and I made sure to reach out. So I've lived all over the state. I'm from Northwest Indiana. I grew up here. I've been with the Times for a long time now. I spent most of my life living in the region. But I lived in Indianapolis for a few years. I worked in the paper there. I went to school down at IU. I lived in southern Indiana. I traveled all over the state. I've been to every corner. I've been to all the little weird museums, including ones that are featured in the book that aren't around anymore. We've had ones here like the Dillinger Museum, the Mascot Hall of Fame, like the College Football Hall of Fame in South Bend before I moved to Atlanta. Like the Lincoln Museum in Fort Wayne was great before they just dissolved it and gave part of it to the state society. But I had an idea of like the kind of stuff I wanted to put in the book, but I still reached out to the historical societies to make sure I wasn't omitting anything that was like too major. It was only like 200 pages I was given, so I couldn't include everything. There's still stuff I kind of like now beating myself up for not including. But like I would reach out to the historic societies and find out like what pictures they would have. There was treasure trove of like great like at the Gary American I got from the Gary Public Library. But some of it, like Poco Muse and Westchester History Museum in Porter County, gave me some great stuff, like on Littleville, the Littleville attraction that a steel worker had built, like a miniature town, complete with like an oil refinery, a baseball stadium, all kinds of little houses, and it was a big attraction during like the 30s and 40s before the rubber shortages in World War II eventually kind of put it out of business. But I was able to get like all kinds of cool photos of like the Dunes Arcade Hotel, Red Lantern Inn, some of the hotels that used to be along the shoreline in Lake Michigan, and they were very generous to provide a lot of photos. But this one took a lot of legwork because before, if I'm doing a book about Hammond, it's like a lot of it's just the Hammond Public Library, Hammond Historical Society. This one I had to talk to like everybody all across Indiana, so it was a lot of like juggling.
So we're talking to Joseph Pete. I think what we learned is I got a brand new microphone and that it picks up the other guy, so I need to tilt it a little bit there. So thank you for those that are saying that. We're talking about lost.
Don't cover it either because it echoes.
What's that?
Don't cover it either because it echoes.
Okay, Lost Treasures of Indiana by Joseph Pete. Restaurants, drive-ins, concert halls, and other favorite places from the past. If you got any questions to Joe about what he included or did not include, but here you go. Here's one that I'm so glad is in here, Joe. The Star Plaza Theater.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it says here one of Chicagoland's largest theaters. I'm going to move over because I got a brand new microphone. It's picking you up a little bit.
Sure.
Sorry about that. One of Chicagoland's largest theaters lay just across the state line in northwest Indiana. The Star Plaza at Interstate 65 and US 30 in Maryville hosted comedy acts like Jerry Seinfeld, George Carlin, Ellen DeGeneres, Richard Pryor, and region native Jim Gaffigan. Yeah. You also mentioned Bob Dylan, and I got to say to people that the best concert I ever saw in my life was a Tuesday night when Bob Dylan came in and played the Holiday Star. I'm going to switch to number 3, okay? And then take me off my other one. There you go. All right, I should be better now. Sorry about that, guys. I got some new equipment. I don't think people realize how much history was in the Star Plaza Theater. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
crazy. What did you? I'm sure you did some research on it. What'd you find?
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah, this is one example of like this is kind of an extension of the work I've done as a journalist too, because I was fortunate enough I was unfortunate to close, but I was able to cover the historic closing of it and talk to like Charlie Booker and get to do some in-depth interviews and tour around it, like when it and talk to people like the Oak Ridge Boys when it finally when they decided to close it. But no, it was obviously hugely significant. The White family built it as the Holiday Star. They brought in like Donna Sumner at the height of her fame for the like opening an act, and it had some of the biggest names in entertainment all throughout the 80s, 90s, and so forth. And it was I think it was the second or third largest theater by seating capacity in all of Chicagoland. But part of the problem why it ultimately closed is like a lot of the economics of the music business. Like they used to make a lot of money from selling CDs and vinyl records and tapes, and that's kind of gone by the wayside with streaming. So now they depend heavily on the concert revenue. So a lot of the concerts that before would have been in a more intimate kind of theater setting with good acoustics and so forth have been moved to places like the United Center or Soldier Field, and they do like a lot of stadiums and arenas now, particularly the bigger acts that can fill them. So that really was kind of not necessarily the death knell, but it really hurt a lot of the smaller theaters like the Star Plaza. Because they're just not going to be able to pack in 18,000 people like the United Center, and but they did have a kind of a comfortable, like they were my understanding is they were profitable even up to the end. They kind of brought in acts that they knew people liked. They brought in regular acts like Weird Al Yankovic, who would come by every couple of years. Whether they're a consistent draw, they kind of kept the overhead low, but they were eventually looking at, the facilities were aging, both the everything there. The Twin Towers were aging, the Radisson Hotel was aging, the theater itself was aging. They were really looking at redeveloping the site, which unfortunately didn't ever come to fruition. But Bruce White had a vision for how to kind of prep the site and what to do with it for the next generation, and it never did come to pass. But they were, it was obviously implanted in many people's memories. It still has an effect today. I mean, it was like the home for the symphony. They had their big concerts. They had their big Christmas concerts there. They've since moved to a church on the border of Crown Point and Maryville, but they're still looking at like venues where they can kind of, pack that many seats as they used to. They started doing the Hard Rock. The Hard Rock has in some ways replaced the Star Plaza. They are booking a lot of the kind of the top tier musical acts that the Star Plaza used to, people like the Killers and so forth. But a big difference is it's a casino, so it's over 18, whereas the Star Plaza had a lot more sort of family entertainment, like
I saw
Disney
Barney.
on Ice.
I saw Barney there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. They can't do that unfortunately at Hard Rock. As great a facility as it is, but they can't do a lot of the family stuff that they used to. And the Star Plaza also, one of the great things we lost in the region when we lost it was a big opportunity for a lot of the both like community theater and then the high school kids. They would have the graduations there, but they'd also have some theatrical productions, and it was a chance to, whether it was kids playing with the symphony or it was theater, they got a chance to be on a professional theater stage. They got to be in the spotlights. They got a real, world-class experience that there's nowhere currently for them to get.
Joe, and I know we've talked about it before, but we actually have a program now where we have like 16 podcasts. And the reason I say that, and I keep bringing it up to you, is I'm going to put you and Adriana together just to talk. I don't have anything to do with it. It's run by all these students. But I feel like your depth of knowledge of each of these attractions or events or iconic museums and that have all closed, it's almost like you could just push a button and you know so much about all of these things. I mean, how do you go about getting that depth of knowledge to write a book like this? I mean, you've got probably 300 different ones, maybe different things mentioned in here.
Oh, absolutely.
And you could talk about each one of them, I'm sure.
Well, the region ones I'm a little bit more familiar with than some of the other ones. It was just kind of I was either loosely familiar with it or I was discovered it for research, because a big part of the book too is geographic representation. Like there's a ton of stuff. Lake County is the second most populous in the state, so there's a lot of like Northwest Indiana stuff. There's a lot of Indianapolis stuff, but I also tried to make sure to include every corner of the state. Every city, Terre Haute, Anderson, Muncie, places from Columbus to New Albany, to make sure the whole state geographically was represented. Obviously, there's going to be more. The more population, the more landmarks there are going to be, the more lost stuff there's going to be. So there's a higher concentration of stuff in Indianapolis. But I made sure stuff like in Columbus or in Evansville, they used to have at the zoo, the Mesker Park Zoo, they used to have a monkey house where they had a replica of like one of Columbus's ships, 2/3 to scale, and they had monkeys running wild on the Columbus thing, and it was very prominent attraction. It was featured in stuff like Vladimir Nabokov's novel Lolita mentioned it. It was so odd. And then it was as part of a road trip stop, along with places like the Corn Palace in South Dakota that's still iconic to this day. Just strange places across Indiana like Butt Drugs, but a lot of which is a pharmacy.
Talk about butt drugs.
Okay, sorry, but Butt Drugs it gained a lot of notoriety in the internet age, but it had been around for. Oh, it was family owned. It had been around for 60 or 70 years before it ultimately closed. But it was just an old school pharmacy. The pharmacist's name was Butt, but the name was unintentionally funny. It sounds like something somebody's like smuggling into prison or that type of thing. So they were able to do a lucrative side business where they would sell T-shirts like "I love butt drugs" and things like that. But it was an actual place in Seymour. People would stop and take pictures of the sign and so forth. But it finally, like so many independent pharmacies, they retired. They ended up closing. But going back to your point though, I was like, so a lot of the region stuff I'm just familiar with because I'm from here. I've written about it before or I've covered it. And then a lot of the stuff in the book is kind of in the same vein. Like I lived in Indianapolis. I've always been interested in history. So I've kind of, I stop and read the historic markers when they're there. I, make sure I brush up on the history. But then this book, in some ways, it's a lot of like personal stuff. Like a lot of the IU stuff or the stuff about Bloomington was stuff I was kind of fond of when I was there. Like the Irish Lion recently closed, so that had to be included because that was
the Irish Lion.
Oh,
closed?
Unfortunately, yeah.
I got thrown out of there once.
I'm sure many people did though. That's the thing.
Don't put that in your next book.
I try to include stuff like that for that reason because a lot of people have had experience in these places. But stuff like the Von Lee or the Plan 9 video store, places that people kind of fondly remember, and a lot of it I've had firsthand experiences with. But then it was just just doing a lot of research and reading up on it, talking to the historical societies, checking with the libraries. I've gotten with 5 books now, I've kind of gotten pretty adept at the research. I think I know how to look up, old news articles and dig up material, dig up records, whether Secretary of State registrations and that kind of stuff.
It's one of the other ones you have in here is the College Football Hall of Fame. And it was in South Bend, and I thought they were going to like put a ton of money and have the College Football Hall of Fame. But kind of what happened in like the aughts, the 2000s, is the SEC came along and they like ran college football, and of course they took the College Football Hall of Fame down to Atlanta, but it was a big deal in South Bend for a while.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There was one of those ideas, like it had been around nationally. There had been a push to do it for years and years and years. They talked about doing it in like New Jersey and then Cincinnati, and then eventually South Bend won this big national competition. They put it downtown. You can still go there. There's still like half of a football field in downtown South Bend with the goalposts and so forth, where they still haven't redeveloped the site yet. But it was a pretty big attraction. Obviously, it was drawing a lot from like Notre Dame game days and that kind of thing. But the location was a little bit like remote for, South Bend is a regional airport. It's not like a major airport. They don't get outside of Notre Dame. They don't get a huge amount of like tourist traffic there. It's it's accessible from here. It's accessible from Chicago. But for people like traveling throughout the country, it's not necessarily the easiest place to get to. That hasn't deterred other Cannon and some of the other Hall of Fame towns aren't necessarily like right there on the beaten path either. However, it never kind of drew as many people as they were hoping. And eventually, like you said, like the center of gravity kind of shifted in college football. It went from, the Big Ten, we're seeing a resurgence right now, fortunately, but like the Big Ten had been like, one of the historic hubs. And then, we had years of where Alabama was in the title game every single year, SEC this, SEC that. And they, kind of ended up, Atlanta kind of took it. And then, but something like that, maybe it fits better in Atlanta because there's a lot more foot traffic and, tourists visiting other places like Coca-Cola and CNN and places like that. But it was, one of the significant places in our history in the state where, we had a national museum that was there to record, college football. And that's just kind of the stories I'm looking to tell, the history I'm trying to preserve. both like with the visuals, with a lot of the historic photos, but also just with the stories.
There it is, Joseph Pete. You guys know you all read him in the Times, award-winning journalist, and this is your fifth book or sixth?
Oh, fifth.
Fifth book. And, of course, Secret Northwest Indiana is very popular also. You can always go over and go over to Miles' books, and you can get most of these. I see them in the window when I go over to get some coffee. And one thing you don't know about Joe, though, of course, he's related that he's an IU grad. Certainly the Society of Professional Journalists, and you hear him on Lakeshore Public Radio, maybe not so much so recently.
Yeah,
since they
unfortunately.
had their cuts, but that just means that we have the opportunity, and Adriana will, you and she will talk. But the other thing I got to do before we go is I got to thank you for your service when you served in Iraq and and served us as Americans. And I don't think you don't really go into that. I got to tell you, I would love to see the Joe Pete Iraq experience, maybe something with the military as one of your books too. I'm sure you've thought about it.
Oh, yeah, no, I've long planned to write a war novel, probably more of a novel than a memoir. When I was actually in the service, my joke was that it would be called Double Timing to Nowhere. Double timing is Army for slang for running. But that was the what I was going to call it. I've written a little bit about military experiences, like short stories and poetry and fiction mostly, but it's been in some Zero Dark 30. There's a lot of like military themed literary journals. Zero Dark 30. A couple others. Wrath Bearing Tree. Several ones. There's one out of Missouri that's published that I'm usually in every year. But I published some of my experiences in literary journals, but particularly some of the military themed ones.
I don't know what to say, but we will. Joe Cimino, you're in charge of at some point getting together with Joseph Pete and have him cut a little spot. It could be audio only. We'll add some pictures, and then we'll try to sell some books going into Christmas.
Can I note too? I have a reading. I have a reading and a book signing tomorrow at Paul Henry's Art Gallery in downtown Hammond from 11 to 2. And then on the next Saturday, on the October 18th, I have a book signing at the Cherryville Barnes & Nobles at 11 to 3. And then
hold on a second. Paul Henry tomorrow from 11 to 2.
Yes.
And then what time at Barnes & Noble?
Oh, from 11 to 3 on Saturday the 18th.
Barnes & Noble, 11 to 3, Saturday the 18th. Cimino, you're going to make sure that gets on every show, okay?
Oh, thank you.
You got it. He's going to put a little index card, and then all the hosts will read that you're going to be there.
Oh, appreciate it. Thank you.
Tomorrow's a little too late with Paul Henry, whom I'm remotely related to, by the way.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but Barnes & Noble, the following one. This is a cool book, my friends. We will help him sell some because Joe has put in the work, and this is as cool as it gets. Look, I opened it. It has Century Mall.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I miss that place. Anyways, Joe, anything else you want to tell people?
No, that's it. On social media, I'll be doing other appearances too, like the Indiana Historical Society's Author Fair in Indianapolis in December, and the Beverly Shore. They have a holiday market at the South Shoreline in the museum there in Beverly Shores. I'll be doing that in late November, and a couple other appearances like that. But
is this? All right, you're not giving this to us. No, I will buy this. Okay, I will buy this from you. Okay, and I will be honored. But will you sign it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, 100%.
Well, you don't have to sign it live on the air. You can do it during a commercial. But I will buy this book for Joe, Pete, and you should buy one too. Where can they buy them?
Oh, they're just local. They're available at local bookstores. You mentioned Miles, like Miles, Green Door Books, The Press in Valparaiso, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, anywhere that stocks books. This one too. The other ones are region focused. This one should be all over the state. But any bookstore in Indiana, it might be in a couple surrounding states too. But I would promote local businesses and bookstores over obviously Amazon and so forth.
Have you thought about what you're going to call your podcast?
Oh, not yet. No.
You better start thinking about it because when Adriana calls you, she usually moves very quickly.
Okay.
Okay. All right, guys. You'll be hearing from Joe Pete. Buy his book. And if you're not doing anything next Saturday, we'll promote it. Or this Saturday, come out and see him and meet him and buy a book. All right. Until next time.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Until I'll be right back on the Voice and Face of the Region. AM 1230 WJOB 104.7 FM. I know you guys are looking forward to hearing Kusiak today, but you're stuck with me. I'm Jed. I'm the owner here of WJOB, and I'm just as importantly, there's plenty of owners, okay? But I am one of the owners of Jed TV Sports Network. Got 7 games tonight. Please download the Jed TV app on your phone and on your TVs, all of them in your house. And then Friday night, put one of them on Jed TV and just let the games run, and you won't be disappointed. And plus, we'll get those views. So it all goes back to the schools. More views, more money. More money for the schools, more money for the Jed TV Sports Network. As Joe Pete mentioned, it has been announced that we are getting inducted into the Society of Innovators, and we're very proud of that. And we did a bit. They were here and they interviewed me and Sam and me, and took a bunch of pictures. And they're going to do a big spread in one of the magazines. But the dinner's coming up, and I think it's in 2 weeks, and we'll be there also, as I'll have some information on that, as we've been working hard. Sam and Peter, not last week, but the week before. Yeah, was it last week? They went and they were chosen as one of the 5 top sports technology companies that applied to the Rally Conference. That would be a lot of sports technology companies. Somehow we made it in. We were originally an alternate, and then somebody couldn't make it, so we got in, and we were pitching for $1 million, and we're one of the top 5, so we had a 20% chance. But I knew who was going to win it, the guy from Echo Bar, but we had virtually very little chance because they're at a different level in raising money and so forth. But things are moving along. You got to treat it as a technology company. Guys like Semino and Adriana and Lynette, you don't realize what kind of level of tech these guys are as we're getting recognized, and I appreciate that a lot. But the big thing to recognize is Semino's going to tell you all the games that we're having tonight right after I tell you traffic. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west is light. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway. The problem is southbound on I-65. Southbound on I-65 is backed up very bad, and it must be some sort of an accident. Let me see if I can get a camera on it. It's just a disabled vehicle on southbound I-65 where they have all of the lane changes and so forth. It's right there at 61st is where the disabled vehicle is, and that backs things all the way up to the Borman. So there's really only one thing in the entire Chicago area that's a real problem right now, and it's probably where you're headed right now, which is southbound I-65. Joe Semino, what are the games tonight?
Okay, so I'm going to hide over here still because I can only hear if I hold this wire at a certain angle.
Okay, go ahead.
But
I bought a new one of those. You saw it, right?
Yeah.
A headphone distributor. You got to put it in. All right, and that's your job. Okay? All right, go ahead.
All right, so tomorrow is the 10th of October, so we have at South Central playing Winnemac. We have at Calumet. They are taking on the Griffith Panthers. Highland Football plays at 7 p.m., and they play KV. Boone Grove plays Lake Station. At Andrean against Hanover, and at Hobart against Morton. Those are your games for this week.
You know what? I want to see that Morton-Hobart game. That might be the one that I'll – so instead of going out to the games, I'll just kind of sit home and monitor, and sometimes I'll text the cameraman, hey, sit still, you goof. Or one of the problems is they put those cameras up on top of the press box, and sometimes the young, the students are up there also filming for their schools, and they tend to hop around, and you see the camera. I'm like, hey, tell those kids to quit jumping around and sit still. But you can watch all these games tonight. Please do be part of the mission. If you're a business, you want to be part of the mission also. I can't believe all the people that have signed up and that support it. You'll see all those great spots that go in there. We have hired a marketing person, so anybody that has a proposal that's out there now, and I think there's like 7 of them, those are only going to be good for a little while, and then we will have a whole new packet of marketing stuff that keeps, quite frankly, getting more expensive as more people buy. So you want to do it now, put it that way. And all you got to do is just send it to me, and I'll hand it to one of the salespeople, Jed at jedtv.com.
You know, since the weather has started to cool off, I have never been more thankful that I have moved out of the position of cameraman, because I remember doing those softball games and it being so hot and the allergies being so bad and you're on top of those roofs and stuff like that. And it's the absolute worst. So you got to give some props to those cameramen. They go through some stuff, especially once we start getting colder.
You are correct. And I don't give them enough kudos. On the Jed TV side, you're right. There's going to be 8 or 15 people up there tonight, and it shouldn't be too bad. They're up on top of the press boxes, and you'll see them. And if you just say, hey, man, thanks for doing it, it really makes their days. You know, they don't make a ton of money. A lot of them, are going to go on to be camera people at other, larger places that pay more. But it's kind of a thankless job. Today's not going to be so bad at the game time. It's going to be, 63 degrees, so that shouldn't be too bad. But when it's 33 degrees and the wind's coming off the lake and you're on top of one of these press boxes, no fun. I've never personally did it, just so you know. But Semino obviously has. Yep. And but, Joe, next week it's going to be the conference championship. We're going to do another Friday night kickoff, and that is when they go out from 5 to 6:45, and they do a game day before it. We did it before the Munster Highland game. I had a lot of fun out there. I actually went out there and talked on it. I figured if they could invite Mike Hackett and Robinson St. Louis, they could at least invite me on the air, and they did not invite me. I just pushed myself in and rode my bike over there and said, I'm going on the air of my own TV station, whether you guys like it or not. And begrudgingly, they had to hand me the headset for a little while. It's a lot of fun. Now, you can watch one of the games on the Times' Facebook page. I don't know which one they're going to be running, but the Times and us have kind of gotten together to help market these kids. So you've probably not been called, but if you have a business of any sort, get a hold of us or get a hold of the Times, and we'll make it happen for some advertising. All right, let's get back to a major story that is unfolding here. Here we are in October of 2025, and I date that because this will be a segment that we cut up and play later. And it's just a historical moment in that ICE has come into the region, and here is one of the situations. Get those videos back up when you get a chance, okay? But here's the statement from Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott Jr. And this morning, yesterday, armed federal ICE agents were observed staging an operation in the parking lot of the Hammond Police Department. Now, evidently, they just did it and didn't ask, right? It didn't go over too well with McDermott. Listen to this. And McDermott said later today, maybe he and I will do a special segment that we could post, but listen to this, all right? Let me be clear. Hammond does not have any agreements or partnerships with ICE that authorize them to use our city's facilities or property for their operations. It is deeply concerning that federal agents would enter and use Hammond's property without permission, especially when the federal courthouse is a block away. Upon being notified, city officials immediately informed ICE agents that they were not authorized to stage operations on Hammond property. To their credit, the agents complied and relocated elsewhere in the city. What do you guys think about that? Now, certainly, Semino's going to play at La Rancherita as videos that are there. It is the owner, evidently, of La Rancherita. Some guy came to buy some donuts or something, and then he was just arrested and detained by ICE there. And if you're watching it on the YouTube channel, there it is. And all you got to do is go to YouTube and type in WJOB 1230. I'm coming back to the roots of radio. That's all I'm going to be concerned about in the next few months. Let everybody else do their sports network. Let Semino and the rest of the students do the WJOB YouTube channel. I don't really, that's their deal. But in our 102-year history, there's these like certain moments that are, we have some tape from 9/11 when we were on. This is big here. Now, there's the guy being detained evidently in East Chicago. Play that one. Now, we don't know who these guys are. We don't know if these are just normal federal raids or if it's an immigration raid. But there it is. All right, let's see another one. These are all the videos that are getting hundreds of thousands of views on Facebook. And they are, there it is. There's the ICE agents, alleged ICE agents, patting the guy down and searching him. And he's very cooperative, but he is handcuffed. And he does look to be of Mexican descent. Now, can you also go to Region, that was from the Times, thank you. Can you go to Region News Source on Facebook? Or here, I'll tell you, I'll send this statement. There's a really good picture of the, let me see if I can just copy it and paste it to you. Copy it, and I will just send it to you, your phone, and you figure it out, Semino. It's a picture of ICE setting up in the Hammond Police Department parking lot. Okay? And he's got it. He'll show it in a second. Also, there was a statement put out by East Chicago, right? And what's really happening here is East Chicago and Hammond are standing up to the federal government. And here the Times is reporting protests called for Saturday in the wake of suspected ICE activity in the region. Let me read this real quick. A protest is scheduled for 1 p.m. Saturday at East Chicago City Hall in the wake of multiple sightings Thursdays of masked officers suspected by local officials to be immigration and customs enforcement agents in Hammond and EC. That's according to East Chicago Mayor Anthony Copeland. I urge our residents to remain calm and not engage with ICE agents. Okay, there's a picture of Hammond, by the way. There's a good job, Semino. You're getting better at this. There's a picture they just set up, evidently without permission, in the Hammond Police Department parking lot, and it looks like they're guiding a couple people to their vehicles. So here it is. Going back to Copeland, I urge our residents to remain calm and not engage with ICE agents either verbally or physically. We fully support the right to peaceful assembly and freedom of speech, Copeland said of Saturday's protest at City Hall. Now, as we saw there, ICE has come into Northwest Indiana. How do you feel about that? And is it about time? Is it like, come on, man? I mean, when are you going to start? I mean, it's pretty easy to see. You can go into a lot of different places in Maryville, East Chicago, Hammond, Portage. Portage is a lot of Hispanics. Where else is really heavy Hispanic? Lake Station, we're doing that football game tonight. They got a lot of Hispanics proportionally. Those are probably some of the hot spots. But what happens now? You know what I mean? So if you have local police departments that are getting from their mayors and their police department heads, or let me see if I could read the Jose Rivera one. He puts out the statement. Let me see where that one is. Here it is. So Rivera puts out a statement that says that I'd like to get it perfect, but I can't. I can find it right now. It's so fluid. Here it is. It's so fluid that it's kind of hard to believe. Does anybody have any? Where do you guys stand? Are you welcoming ICE agents in, or are you not? That's a pretty simple way of putting it. Is it about time to get people who are not here and didn't do it the right way and kick them out of the country? Or should there be some sort of compassion and some sort of understanding, especially if they're just hardworking people that have families? You're pulling a dad away from a family who has a job and the kids may be legal. Those are the ones I know. And that is where the parents are not documented, but the kids are. And that becomes, I wonder if they're going to do anything different in the schools. East Chicago and Hammond schools, all you got to do is go sit out and watch the kids get dropped off, and you could have a field day with undocumented parents. The plot thickens. Let's go to the phone line. 219-845-1100. Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, Jed, it's Marine Pete. How you doing?
Where you been, man?
I had the day off, so I was able to listen to your show on YouTube. It's an amazing experience. The comment section is a good thing. I love it.
You know, that is, I would love to take credit for that, but I was against it. And all these students are doing it. So it's a student-run YouTube channel. So you know how that goes. Hey, man, it's good to hear your voice. You know that?
Yeah.
It is a bit grovelly, though. You been getting enough sleep?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's great. I'm doing great. Hey, what would you do if ABC7 set up in your parking lot? What would you do?
I'd certainly have a talk with them. And I would not. I would probably not want them there, no.
Whoa, wait a second. You're both reporting the news?
Well, it's my property. Go find your other spots to do it.
I like it.
I mean, that's honestly, and honestly, that has happened before. I like to work with people, but, you know, don't come in and steal my audience. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm just skirting. So, hey, it's great to hear you. Keep up the good work.
Hey, listen, I got to tell you something.
Go ahead.
I went to South Carolina for 4 days.
Oh, boy. To golf?
Yeah, last 4 days. I mean, I'm not the it was really cheap, and I drove with 3 Hammond High guys, which, you know, I forgot how hard-headed Hammond High guys could be after spending all that time with them. But we drove across the country. We stopped in West Virginia, and I didn't really see much of Myrtle other than driving the golf courses. But I will tell you this. We went out twice for seafood. That has to be some of the best seafood in America. I mean,
yes, sir. I would agree.
I got a grouper sandwich where the woman said that the catch was from that morning, and you could taste the difference. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. So my daughter was born in South Carolina, the Low Country, Beaufort area, and very first meal she ever had was fish. I think she had salmon, which, you know, isn't Low Country food, but whatever. She had seafood. And to this day, that's the only thing she really eats without question is fish. And so I'm happy that she was born in South Carolina, and we call her a river rat because she grew up in the rivers of South Carolina. But it was great. It's awesome.
Hey,
it's a great place. There's no better golf courses other than the Lost Marsh, of course. But South Carolina is the best place to play golf.
Hey, we have Veterans Views coming up, and every Friday's kind of a celebration. As Rocky Rockwell has finished his tour and was able to rejoin his family, who he was away from more than 11 months.
Mm.
You know that feeling, right?
Yes.
I mean, you know, if I had to leave my grandkids and my wife for 11 months straight, I don't think I could do it right now. But he's back and he's safe, and he'll be on today at 9:05.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, I'll be watching.
All right.
Any military guy will tell you it's the moments, not the time with your family. It's the moments, not the time, that matter. And so, the moments watching you are mattering to me and mattering to this region. So keep up the good work.
All right, man. Good to hear from you.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Thanks. I know better than to ask an active military guy his political opinion on ICE. Did you notice that, Smito? I don't want to put him in a position, you know what I mean? I have no idea where he's at on it, but I keep telling Marine Pete that when his 20 years is up, he needs to run for office. He's the perfect, and he's eloquent about his positions, which I've talked to him off the air about. And he's pretty much just a middle-of-the-road good soldier. Hey, let's take some more calls. ICE is in the region. How do you feel? 219-845-1100. Hey.
Hey, how's it going? It's Robert from Robertsdale.
What do you think, man?
Hey, I just want to remind, I guess, the elected officials that the Hammond Police Station belongs to the people. It doesn't belong to any elected officials. So it belongs to the people. It's taxpayer-funded. And there are residents in Hammond that support legal migration. I'm Latino. My parents migrated to this country legally from Mexico. It is unfortunate, and the media makes it look worse than what it probably is. They don't report on the background of the individual being arrested. And let's be real. These individuals knowingly committed a crime by not doing it legally. And now laws are being enforced, laws that have existed for decades. I mean, look at the background. I mean, Obama literally deported more migrants than Trump has in his since he's been in office. So Obama has done it worse. But the difference is social media didn't exist the way it existed today. TikTok didn't exist. Snapchat didn't exist. And the media doesn't like conservative-minded individuals. So with me, being a Latino, if you're here illegally and you've committed a crime, go through the process. Go back. Self-deport. We've had over 1 million illegal immigrants self-deport because they want to come back legally. If they get caught, it's gonna take longer for the process. So, yes, it's unfortunate. It's sad to watch the way the media makes it look. But yes, we want legal migrants here, and it's sad that our mayor is not supporting the process. It's just a little sad.
All right, so let's go to that specific situation. You're a Hispanic living in Hammond, conservative Hispanic, which honestly, knowing and marrying a Hispanic woman and knowing their whole family, I would say more are conservative Hispanics than liberal Hispanics, but we'll leave it at that. So McDermott put out this statement. Of course, the ICE agents just set up in the Hammond Police Department. And McDermott says, let me be clear. Hammond does not have any agreements with ICE that authorize them to use our facilities. It is
right, Jed, but it's not the mayor's property. It's the people's property. It's not the mayor's property.
So what would you like him to what would you like him to do or not do?
I would like him to follow the law. And if someone breaks the law, which I mean he's a lawyer. So if someone broke the law, like crossing the border illegally, the crime has been committed. Now laws are being enforced.
Well, I mean, you're obviously very informed about how the government works, but you, maybe not your specific vote, you and many like you that live in Hammond elected him to make decisions that require...
Oh, no.
He's the mayor, and he is there to make that decision. Now, you can disagree with the decision, but he represents you whether you like it or not.
Well, that's true. It doesn't mean I voted for him. It just means I live in an area where I have to abide by what my elected officials are pushing. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it.
Yeah.
Ted.
So let me ask you this. You're a Latino, and you're going somewhere, and you're seeing another Latino getting picked up by ICE that you may know is not a criminal. other than the
How
crime.
do I know that, Jed?
All right, hold on.
How do I know that? And how would you know that?
All right, hold on a second. So the issue and the storyline is that, they're picking up people from the drug cartel. Now, do you believe that?
Now, let's be real here. They have a list of individuals that have either overstayed their visas. They have names. They're not targeting any random Latino. Now, when you throw a net out to catch criminals in any justice systems, in any country, justice is not perfect. We know that. There's innocent individuals, innocent Americans incarcerated right now that committed no crime. They say they were not guilty, but they were found guilty by the judicial system. Innocent American individuals for crimes that they did not commit. You throw a net out, there's going to be unfortunate, innocent individuals that are going to be caught in that net that have to go through the process to be proven innocent. That happens in any judicial system. Unfortunately, some Americans might be caught up in this net, but once they go through the process, they're released. So yes, the media is amplifying what's actually happened, and it's sad. They're putting us against each other the way they always do. I get along with my liberal friends a lot. I just don't like that people are pushing something that's not really happening. Snapchat, TikTok, yes, people are getting arrested. They've committed crimes. Yes, innocent individuals are probably being detained, but eventually released once they go through the process. And I'll leave it with that, Jed, and I'll hang up and listen.
Thanks a lot. 219-845-1100. Let's take some more phone calls. Hey, you're on the air.
Jimmy, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Hey, listen, one thing your last caller, which was probably the best call you've had all morning, was that every single person ICE has come after has warrants, usually multiple. And when I say usually, it's about 90% they have multiple warrants, none of which are for the crime of entering the country illegally. It's usually drugs, weapons, sex trafficking, or burglary rings. It's just that simple. They're criminals that your buddy Tom hasn't caught yet, but they've got the warrants for them. And by the way, they're not using the facilities. The facility is a building or equipment. They're simply using a parking lot. And you can't go around attempting to supersede the federal government all the time. Sanctuary cities are illegal by law. They can't override the federal government. These guys are not walking around crossing, young women and old ladies across the street during the day. They're criminals, Jimmy. They're people that have gone out and done diabolical things to citizens of Hammond or East Chicago or wherever it is. They've stolen their stuff. They've sold drugs. There's a warrant for their arrest. I mean,
hold on a second.
You characterize it as these guys are like
Thank you.
No,
hold on.
Sunday.
Back and forth here. Let me be clear, says Hammond Mayor Tom McDermott. Hammond does not have agreements with ICE. It is deeply concerning that federal agents would enter and use Hammond's property without permission. Was he in the right in asking ICE to vacate their property?
Absolutely not.
Explain.
I just did. They're to work together to protect the public, the tax-paying public, the people who are here legally, American citizens. Do you think, Jimmy, in your neighborhood, you want a guy living 2 blocks away selling drugs out of his house? Would you like that? I don't think you would you?
So
yet
certainly nobody would like anybody selling drugs out of their house, illegal drugs, or any kind of drugs. And that is a rhetorical question.
How about weapons?
But hold on a second.
Would you like that?
I think what you get to is who has the right for Hammond property. Is it the federal government can come in and tell Hammond, too bad, so sad, we're the federal government, and you got to let us use your facilities? I mean, or does the city have any sovereignty over their own property?
Well, I think as the guy who just called in, they're only there to make society safer.
No,
What is
I
the
understand.
problem with
No,
that?
wait a second. I understand all of the arguments on both sides,
I
and
kind
they
of don't
are
think
valid.
you do, though.
No, I don't. What happens is, a lot of people never really understand that there is another side because they either watch MSNBC or they watch Fox
don't
all day.
start
All
with
right,
that
so hold on a
malarkey.
second.
That doesn't
But there
get you
is an
anywhere. You
issue
sound
here
foolish.
that is deeper. And the deeper issue is, and this is why I say it's such a historical moment, because this is a civics class right now. What rights does the city have if they don't want ICE on their property? Can ICE just stay? I don't know what the answer is.
Are you not one of the big cheerleaders of, like, we should have less government and, like, Highland Griffith and Munster should all get along and share things and do things to save money? And yet, when the feds come in with warrants for known criminals, not because they came here illegally, these people have multiple warrants.
You are going
Jimmy.
back to the argument again, and I understand that the argument is very valid and that we don't want drug dealers or people who have committed crimes, and that is certainly accepted by 95% of Americans. I get it. So you're repeating
and
something.
what 5% would oppose
no, you're
that?
repeating something that we've litigated for years on these airwaves. The question that is pertinent right now is, what rights does McDermott have to ask ICE to get the hell off their property? I mean, does anybody seeing that this is the issue? McDermott, they just came in and sat in the parking lot and they were doing their, ICE stuff without asking permission, and then McDermott had them asked.
Well, you don't know.
leave.
You don't know that. Maybe they asked an officer or someone and said, "Hey, you got this empty lot here," which I think there's a lot of empty space in Hammond that could be used to help bring in criminals.
Here's all I'm going is from a statement.
And that sounds like a good thing.
This is what the statement from McDermott says. It is deeply
we
concerning.
We know it. You've already read that.
No,
Jimmy.
you said you don't know if they had permission. Well, I'm going to read you the statement that totally contradicts that. Is deeply concerning that federal agents would enter and use Hammond's property without permission.
Well, now, is it facilities or property? He used the word facilities. Now it's property. Which one was it? Either way, they're only there to help protect the public and arrest criminals.
I get it.
And
I get it. Wherever you stand on it, like you and I get it. And I won't even go into where I would stand on it, because that's not the issue. The issue is you have a mayor of Hammond and a mayor of East Chicago standing up to the federal government right here in the region as they're arresting mostly Hispanic or all Hispanic individuals.
No, they're arresting criminals.
Okay, but
they're arresting criminals.
So should McDermott have the right to ask ICE to stay off their property?
I think your last caller made it crystal clear. You're to protect your community.
So that's a yes or no question.
And absolutely no, because they're not there to ruin things. The ICE isn't there to steal things.
All right, so let's take it further. And
Jimmy,
I knew that was it.
I'm taking it as far as I can.
No. That is not as far as it goes.
They should
because
roll
what
out the
happens?
Red carpet for ICE, Jimmy.
I understand,
and I'll leave it at that, babe.
No, but nobody wants to face the question. No one wants to face the question of what if they don't want to move. What are McDermott's options? See what I'm saying? I mean, I was hoping this would never happen, but I knew that if they came to Hammond, this is exactly what McDermott was going to do, right? You could agree with them, you could disagree with them. All I look at is like, well, what is what's the best thing? What's the safest thing for the region? the safest thing for the region is not having ICE and Hammond police disagree. That's not a good situation. Now, the question would be, what happens if it escalates, right? Now, I'm with Mayor Anthony Copeland and with the federal ICE agents. Let's not escalate let's certainly, I think they're having a big rally at the East Chicago City Hall tomorrow at 1. Certainly, let's keep it peaceful. And when ICE comes in and grabs a guy out of La Rancherita Bakery or wherever they might want to grab him from, verbal or physical pushing back of any type is not warranted. But there are issues, and that's a major issue. When McDermott asks ICE to get off his property of the city of Hammond, that's a big deal. I hope like hell this does not escalate, because I know the mayor of Hammond, and certainly we all know what President Trump and ICE agents are capable of, and this is not pretty. You could even hear it in the discussion. Take a short break. Joe Cimino says we'll be right back on the Voice and Face of the Region. You know what? You're always bringing me in right as I'm eating. Sorry about that. How is everybody? I'm Jed, and you're listening to AM 1230 WJOB 104.7 FM, and also on the TuneIn app. Are you keeping up with the chats? Is there anything you want to tell me? Now, also,
let me check.
it is a student-run YouTube channel with Joe Cimino, Adriana Alvarez, Matt Kaufman, Lynette Lopez, and is there anybody else?
I heard we were getting somebody new, but I don't know.
Yeah, all right. So they're all students, and they're doing it. I honestly, I just didn't. I mean, we've had massive interest in our Jet TV Sports Network, and we're doing that. That app now is no longer has the show on it, Jet TV. It's under WJOB 1230 on YouTube, and it's a channel, and you can watch it, and you can comment underneath it. And I should have it up so I can see the comments, but I don't yet. I'm back to radio and podcasting, and that's what I want to do. And I just don't see the reason to put all this stuff on TV. But I listen to the students, and they're doing it. So if you want to listen, that's kind of my area. If you want to watch, that's Cimino and the rest of them. All right, let's look at what the traffic is, final traffic. It's been pretty light all morning, and it certainly is. 294 around the city looks pretty good. 80 going east and west looks good. Bishop Ford, Dan Ryan, Skyway, Toll Road. It's really good. No traffic, major traffic. Even that disabled vehicle on southbound I-65 is gone now, and they're able to move through that. In terms of weather, you have the football games ready, will you? Right now it's 50 degrees, goes up to 68. Kind of cloudy, kind of sunny, kind of a hazy day. Then it should get sunny, or the clouds should move out entirely kind of during the football games, and then it should be clear all night long. What a moon it was yesterday. Not a full moon, just really bright three-quarter moon, maybe 7/8. Beautiful. Should have more of that tonight, as you'll be able to see it, say, after 9 o'clock. And then tomorrow, a beautiful day, sunny and a high of 66. And then Sunday, sunny and a high of 70 degrees. Joe Cimino's a producer. He also is a host of Friday Night Kickoff. We are not doing Friday Night Kickoff at 5 o'clock today. It is just a lot of work. It's like doing another game or two games, really. It's so they got to. I want to say thank you to Central Midwest Carpenters. They built a set that looks really amazing. Now we got to buy some lights and do it real, but they plan on doing it up next week for the Lowell Andrean game. That'll be for the conference, the NCC Conference Football Championship. And your games tonight are?
So tonight at 6:30, we got South Central at home against Winnemac. We have Calumet football starting off the 7 o'clock slates against Griffith. Highland is at home against Kankakee Valley. Boone Grove is home against Lake Station. Andrean is home against Hanover. And Hobart, closing out the night, is home against Morton.
That is a game. Now, do we know which one the Times is running on their Facebook page and on their website?
I don't know if I have it on here, but I can tell you that RRSN is doing the Calumet game.
All right, yeah. So we do partnerships with the Hobart Broadcasting Department, with the Porter County Porter County Career Center. We also do it with Mid America Broadcasting and Regional Radio Sports Network with Paul Condry and Mike Knezovich. They also stream through us. So more and more other outlets are using Jed TV. When I say these games are on, doesn't mean we're doing them all. That means RRSN, I think, is doing 3 of those games tonight, right? Or 2 or 3. And so sometimes it'll be different broadcasters. I want to know where that Lowell Andrean thing is next week. Can you look that up?
I believe it's in Lowell. But
Okay,
let me
so
check.
I'll look at it right now. Here, let's see. All you got to do is go to see our good friends at ihsaa.org, and they have a John Harrell's website is kind of one of the coolest things in Indiana, in that it is at Andrean, so it'll be it's a conference game. I'm sorry, it's at Lowell. It'll be Lowell. It'll be Andrean at Lowell next week, and let's see. Is that right? Am I reading that correctly?
You are.
Yeah, I am. So it is Andrean at Lowell next week. We'll do a big Friday night kickoff. They have guests that come in, and they do picks, and I think they take messages and that kind of stuff. All right, here we are, 219-845-1100.
You got full phone line.
Yeah, I'm here for Kusiak. The big news of the day is that ICE is in the region, and that McDermott and Copeland are pushing back. Copeland's even, I don't know if he's calling it, but there is certainly word of a big rally tomorrow at, I don't know if it's be a big rally, but they're calling for a rally at the East Chicago City Hall. And there's videos around that Joe Cimino has been playing of a supposed ICE arrests at the La Rancherita Bakery. What do you want me to move? You want me to take calls? All right, good enough. Armed ICE, and here's what the Times says. Armed ICE agents kicked off city property yesterday. Wow. That's the Hammond Police Department versus ICE agents. That is exactly what I didn't want it to come to, and neither did you. Let's take some phone calls. 219-845-1100. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Yeah, I want to make a couple of comments to your previous callers, just clear up. I mean, the issue of Hammond property being the property of the citizens, that's absolutely correct. And Mayor McDermott, in the representative form of government, is the representative of the city, Hammond citizens. So he's perfectly within his rights. If you don't like it, when he runs again, don't elect him. Second point, this issue about they're just arresting drug dealers, gun runners, people traffickers. That's garbage. They said that over 1 million been arrested. If that's the case, we should pretty well be rid of all them problems. And then if they are arresting them, I don't want them people deported because they're just going to come back and do it again. I want them in prison. So it's a bunch of garbage. It's what they always do, make stuff up and try to justify, if they're here illegally and they want to pursue it, there's a bigger solution to that problem. But if that's their solution, then okay, deport them. But to say that these are all rapists and drug dealers and people traffickers and they're arresting them and deporting them, you're doing them a favor. They're going to come right back and keep doing the same thing. If those are the people you're arresting, you need to put them in prison.
Do you feel as if McDermott was within his scope of duty and what the Times is calling kicking ICE off of his property?
Absolutely. Whatever. Kicking him off, go and ask him for permission, then come. Or shouldn't have been there in the first place without asking. These ICE agents, the issue of Obama deported more. Yeah, but he wasn't deporting them with mass marauders, unidentified police people. And, he's proven his point. There's a way to do this, and the way to do this in the right way. If it's deporting people that are here illegally, fine, do it. But to make all this other crap up that they're rapists, drug dealers, it's all garbage.
I honestly wished it wouldn't come to this because we all know McDermott, and he doesn't back down. And
God bless him.
I obviously don't agree with them a lot of times, but I just wonder where this could go. You know what I mean? Because when ICE comes in and McDermott kicks him off the property, what's the next step? What do you fear?
Next step is, that's what the court system's for. If what McDermott's doing is illegal, have immigration. That's what the court system. That's what this three form of government system's all about. One system is abusing the system. You have to go to another one to correct it. The court system will determine it. I think, like I said, God bless McDermott. I don't always agree with him either, but this time he's 100% right. You just can't let people, because it's the people, if somebody wants to sell guns on the property, yeah, you could arrest them for selling guns, but you can't kick them off your property because it belongs to the people. That's stupid.
What makes you you sound angry? What are you angry about?
Oh, yeah. I'm angry about the misinformation and the garbage that they put out to justify what they're doing. They're justifying. Tell them what you're doing. You want to get rid of all illegals, whether they're here, whether they have children here, whether they have jobs here, whether they've been here 20 years. Their point is, let's get rid of them. My grandmother came over here back in, and she was actually sent back to Poland because she wasn't documented. So, to think that everybody, all of us came here illegally is ridiculous. It couldn't have happened. People came in on boats. The prisoners came in. This illusion that everybody else came here legally back in the early 1900s is wrong. Most probably did, but there's a lot that didn't.
Thanks for the phone call. 219-845-1100. Hey, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Well, I think if these ICE guys went up to the mayor or whoever, or the police chief, and I'm going to assume that they probably said, hey, we're looking for these 16 guys right here. Okay, we're going to help you. Go get them. And they probably would have went away quietly. Now, you throw them off the property, which, hey, whatever he wants to do, now they're going to come with their teeth out. Because it happens every time you look around Broadview, all these people that buck these people, you just piss them off, and now they're going to, oh, really? You think you're the little mayor of Hammond? We'll show you who the federal government is, pal. But you should just cooperated with them, and it probably they would have done what they came to do, because believe me, they're not sending federal agents to Hammond, Indiana to wander around and see if they could just pick on someone because of their skin color. They were here looking for some people.
What if that was the case?
Oh, if it would have been a real short news story, and we would have never talked about it. And here's one other thing that nobody talks about. Maybe if that bonehead Biden would have kept that border closed like it is now, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. It's closed. And it wasn't an act. No one flew to Mars here. It was closed immediately. If he would have just kept the damn thing closed and had some sanity down at that southern border, we probably wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Well, what do you mean by the federal government comes now with their teeth out? McDermott. Hold on a second. McDermott, the guy doesn't back down from anything. Even when it's nonsensical, he'll still hold his position. So, what do you think could happen here?
Okay, you could be the big tough guy and not back down. That's fine. And then you're going to get a situation like you have in Broadview where the National Guard pulls up and you got 20-foot tall fences around buildings. So you can play tough guy all you want, but you could say you're not backing down from the federal government. How's that working out for Pritzker? Nobody's coming through me. Really? How'd that work out for you, JB?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to think what could happen here in Hammond and East Chicago. I mean, you all have scenarios. I mean, if you really think about it, if Trump and the federal government really want to make a stand, it's kind of hard to do it a little more deeply in Chicago. But they could come here, and who knows what could happen, right? Who knows?
Let me ask you a question. Do you think those guys showed up here yesterday wandering around aimlessly looking for someone because of their skin color?
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, just make an educated guess. Do you think they really think they came to Hammond, Indiana, or East Chicago, wherever it happened, wandering around aimlessly?
I don't know, and I don't have any clue, and here's why. I don't have any observable understanding of what's really going on. I mean, you could read, you've heard several callers call in, they're just going after drug dealers and the cartel and human traffickers. And then you had the last caller like, that's the most garbage thing there ever. They're just picking people up, and has nothing to do with reality. I don't know where it stands in there. And part of the problem is that we don't have the release of information. Like if somebody got arrested and, we could go down, and I've done plenty of FOIA requests and can I have the police report and all that stuff over the years, then you know who got arrested, you know who arrested them, and you can analyze it as a story that people want to. But I don't have any access to any information. Once they pick some guy up out of the foyer of La Rancherita, nothing. There's no information for anybody. So it's very difficult to make any sort of judgment about what's going on and what's not going on.
Yeah. And, on a lighter note, why didn't you just drive a little bit further down to Hilton Head Island?
Hey, listen, I got to tell you something. Read my, I'm starting up a blog because they told me to. It's on Substack. It's called Jed in the Midwest. We drove from 3:30 in the morning from my house. We drove to a mountain course in West Virginia. That was, it wasn't just a mountain course. It was carved into the side of Mount Rushmore. You were every shot, your ball was either at your waist or it was 2 feet below your feet. And you were hitting on, there was one flat lie the whole day. And next tee was way up on a mountain, and then the other one would be in a valley. It was great to play mountain golf. But we played that, and then I went to the Legends in South Carolina. Not impressed. But there's one course you got to play. It's called the Heritage at Powley's Island, South Carolina. It's about an hour outside of Myrtle Beach. That's my favorite course right now in America. It was unbelievable.
We went to Hilton Head Island last September. End of September, when Hurricane Helene came through. I got caught in that sucker. That was interesting, let me tell you. But we golfed at a place called the Port Royal, Club in Hilton Head Island, and just beautiful. And golfing in the fairway, and the trees along the fairways had the peat moss hanging down from them. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, they call it Spanish moss. It's just
beautiful.
Yeah, it is just beautiful. All right, you and I could do the golf podcast, but not right now because ice is in the region, and I got to finish my show. All right, I'll see you. Thanks. Hey, 219-845-1100. Hey, you're on the air.
Good morning, Jed.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
MX.
Man, you're really killing me with your memes. And I know why, because they get a lot of likes and in a lot of interactions. But when you put me in these very awkward positions, I'm not supposed to laugh at them. I'm supposed to be like angry. And all I do is admire you've got some real skills, man. And you're making me look stupid. And I still think it's funny. But anyways, go ahead.
Could you put your hands over your ears just for a second?
Okay.
Oh, there goes a wolf. But hey, poor guy.
Hey, listen, there's breaking news I got to get to before I finish. So
I'm not done.
You're not even started.
McDermott. I'm with McDermott.
You're with McDermott on this
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, you know what? We're friends now. And you know what's some wrong with illegals selling fentanyl and raping women and trafficking kids and shooting up Hessville? And if ICE wants to have a place, just go to Kennedy Avenue. It's a parking lot. It's been a parking lot for 5 years. Maybe I ought to worry about that. But I'm with McDermott. You know what? Only 72,000 Americans died of fentanyl. Who cares, right? That's why Trump was hired. Now, what's the ramifications? When McDermott called Holcomb a felon, we lost the Hold Harmless Act. Now we've got a wheel tax. We have a food and beverage tax. Our water bill went up. So that answers a lot of questions, doesn't it?
You know, the only yes, thank you for your opinion, but the question I have is, are you still in the backwoods?
Hold on, I got to put him out of his misery. Will you hold your ears? Will you? Hold your ears. That's the end of that guy. Okay.
Hey, listen.
What?
How are the mosquitoes up there?
Who says I'm up in Wisconsin?
All right, you're not. All right, you're back down. I didn't get bit all year, really, around here. There were very few mosquitoes. I went to South Carolina, and you couldn't walk out at 10 o'clock in the morning, and there was mosquitoes on you. I mean, and for whatever reason, we just haven't been having mosquitoes, right? When you're up in the backwoods, you're sending me pictures of skunks at 1 in the morning, you're not getting bit up, are you?
I ain't going to send you a picture of this skunk, but anyway.
All right, you got to go. I can't wait for the next meme.
Wait a minute.
All right, let's go to the next one. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, but I personally think nobody's thinking clearly about ICE and Hammond here. I mean, shouldn't we all be calling in the media and making WJOB a parking lot sanctuary and kind of having a powwow? And I mean, we all talk with our big mouths. Don't you think this is the best opportunity to get everybody in there and get a bunch of people that are accused of being illegal immigrants, and then a bunch of people that are accused of being like Gestapo with the National Guard, and kind of bring them together and talk? I mean, surely we can do it. I mean, this is a great answer. This puts WJOB on the map, man. I mean, we're not thinking clearly here, don't you think?
I can't even follow you, but here's the thing. I agree that we need to talk about it, and people on both sides have called in. But I don't know if people understand the gravity of the situation. Here's what just came out from Kristi Noem, the head of Department of Homeland Security, said they will be acquiring more facilities for ICE in the Chicago area, spreading their reach. Here's what she says. The federal government, to help us keep our country safe, you have talked extensively about how threatened our ICE officers are, but all of our law enforcement out there, and we saw the shooting in Dallas at that facility, so we're hardening all of our buildings and making sure that we have more security measures, snipers on the roof, people protect our law enforcement while they're out there on the streets. But what I'm also doing is we're purchasing more buildings in Chicago to operate out of. We're not going to back off. In fact, we're doubling down, and we're going to be in more parts of Chicago in response to the people there. A few days ago, I looked up at some facilities that we can deploy more law enforcement out of, because what we're trying to do with these riots and violence is distract us and keep us from going after murderers and rapists that are out on the streets. That's pretty deep. Does that sound like they're going to back down from McDermott kicking them off the property?
Oh, no, unfortunately not. I mean, what is it? 10 U.S.C. 332-334 is the use of armed forces to enforce federal authority Insurrection Act. It was already approved by Congress. See, that's to me what nobody's if you're going to want something to really change, you need to go after everybody in Congress that already put these laws in. No, I think the entire thing is theater. I think this is for a much, much larger operation where they need to get every illegal out of literally every country, because it's not just happening here. If you dig into this, you're going to find out there's all kinds of people getting deported from all other countries because they're going to turn on the welfare system here. And they're going to be giving everybody free digital money in the next, I don't know, maybe a few months or sooner. I'm not sure. I don't have a timeline. I know everybody keeps trying to put down a wager with Brad. But, I mean, if you just look at it, doesn't it seem like this is a bigger deal? I mean, if there's this many troops coming in, there would have to be some kind of problem, I would think. If not, then this is a show for something else. And I think that my opinion is they need to get everybody out of this country because they're not going to pay and give them for money. That's what the real idea is all about.
All right, hold on.
I know it's
said
a different perspective.
You said one thing there, like basically that people don't realize what a big deal this is. And I agree. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what's happening. I don't know. I mean, I feel for these ICE agents. I feel for the dad of 3 kids.
Everybody.
I feel for everybody on this.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's so overwhelming. And it came to the region yesterday. And honestly, this would be a major this would be a reasonable decision for the federal government to take a stand, would be East Chicago and Hammond. And that would be not fun for anyone. Hey, Brad, thanks for the phone call. I'm done.
You got to have a great weekend, everyone.
Thanks. Hey, Veterans Views up next. Is that Rocky? Is Rocky? Yes, he is. This guy's left his family 11 months to keep us safe. You guys need to listen and watch to Rocky Rockwell and Donna and the rest of the gang, and Bramer's out there. Bramer of questionable hygiene will be sitting in my seat here in just a second. He learned absolutely nothing in the military about hygiene, but he's still a good dude. All right, man. There's a lot of good stories coming up next on the Veterans View. Stay where you're at on the voice and face of the region.